Grace and peace be unto you, my Christian friends, through our Lord and Savior Jesus. Amen. We've been looking at different groups of people and cities and so forth that miss Christmas, and today we talk about the King who missed Christmas. It's a Christmas classic by now, the wonderful story written by Dr. Seuss of how the Grinch stole Christmas. Here's a part of that story. Every Who down in Whoville loved Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. But why, you ask, perhaps, said Dr. Seuss? It could be that his head wasn't screwed on quite right. Or it could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. The story is really about how the Grinch did not, I repeat, not steal Christmas at all. Oh yes, he did steal the trees, the gifts, the food, the stockings, and all the lights and greenery, if you remember the story. But to his surprise, when Whoville woke up on Christmas morning, they joined hands and sang Christmas songs with great joy. Dr. Seuss continues. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Now in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. That minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight. He whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. He brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. This is one of our favorite, or at least mine anyway, and love stories at Christmas time. The Grinch learned that Christmas is not about all the things that surround our celebration of Christmas. Unfortunately, the Grinch was not the first evil character, though, to try and destroy Christmas as best he could. You remember this guy, Herod the Great? Yeah. So what do you know about Herod? Herod was known for his many building projects. Probably one of his crowning achievements was the temple there in Jerusalem. But less known was his skyscraper-sized palace called Herodium. It was built to house over 1,000 soldiers and the royal family. Not for a week or a month, but for a whole year. Wow. And was just 3 miles north of Bethlehem, and may have been the origination of his murderous decree: kill all the boy babies in Bethlehem. On May 8, 2007, archaeologists discovered firm evidence of Herod's tomb inside this fortress. Herod lived a life of the rich and famous, we would say today, with larger than an Olympic swimming pool and the best foods and the best wines to boot. But as good as the archaeologists are in giving us a glimpse into Herod the Great's life, maybe the most notorious figure of Saddam Hussein is even better. The similarities between Hussein and Herod the Great are quite numerous. Both men killed innocent people by the thousands. Both killed family members, in part because they suffered from paranoia. Both built huge palaces and lived in unparalleled splendor, surrounded by people living in abject poverty. Perhaps the only difference was that Saddam Hussein was executed, while Herod just died. Before Herod died, though, he gave orders to lock up prominent Jews, and then upon his death, they were to be executed. That way, there would be at least some mourning in Jerusalem Jerusalem, even if it wasn't for Herod himself. Nice guy, right? Fortunately, they were released before he died. So how did Herod miss Christmas? I mean, Matthew tells us that international scholars had traveled a great distance to tell Herod of this Christmas event. We call them the wise men, of course. Herod's in-house advisors confirmed the fact that the prophets promised the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. In short, Herod knew as much as anyone could about that first Christmas, save baby Mary and Joseph, right? But he still missed it. Wow. Herod may have been the first Grinch to try and steal Christmas. But there were others in that same region who not only found Christmas, they rejoiced in it. We call them, of course, the shepherds. And after hearing the message of this Savior told by angels, a Savior born to you in the city of David, who is Christ the Lord, they could not wait to go and see for themselves what they had been told. What a contrast between the actions of King Herod and that of the shepherds. It's really a contrast of opposites, isn't it? Herod had more money and power than anyone living in the region. The shepherds lived in poverty, and only the power they had was directing the paths of smelly sheep. Herod, of course, could take time off any time he wanted and stay at Herodium, his palace in Jerusalem, or maybe at Caesarea or Masada, two other palaces he had built near the Dead Sea. The shepherds were on the job 24/7. Herod would never go hungry, having the best of food and drink as much as he wanted. The shepherds lived day to day on very meager diets. Why is that contrast so important for us today? Because our Christmas season often is surrounded by wealth and luxury, almost Herod-like, if you don't mind me saying so. And like Herod, we too, in our crazy world, can become blinded by our own excesses and miss Christmas as well. Bottom line, unless we follow the right example, we too will not find the real meaning of Christmas. The only way to find Christmas is to find the Christ child. All the gift giving and all the receiving that you and I have participated in pales in the face of God's gift of his only Son at Christmas. Jesus, you see, is really the heart of Christmas. Herod missed Christmas. Shepherds found it. Follow the shepherds with me to that babe of Bethlehem. You will never miss then the real Christmas when you find Jesus laying in a manger. Amen. Questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas? Mark?
I know you told me before. Tell me one more time why we celebrate Christmas on the 25th.
We really don't know exactly when Jesus was born. The only hint we get at the text is the shepherds were in the fields at night. When do shepherds spend time in the fields with their sheep at night? Excuse me? In the spring. Particularly during lambing season, which is March, April. Okay? So then you ask, well, why did the church decide December 25th? Well, December 25th, because it's very close to the darkest day of the year. Okay? The pagans of that world would celebrate the celebration of lights. Okay?
Pagans meaning non-believers?
Pagan meaning non-believers. And it was actually a drunken feast and just a carousing and temple prostitutes and you would not believe what all went on. Okay? The church then decided to say, why don't we celebrate Jesus' birthday on that particular day? so as we can put a little something better into that celebration. The church oftentimes did that to rebuild or re-nurture these pagan festivals into a Christian character. I mean, the choice of Easter is very similar to that. Okay? It was the celebration of Estrus, the foreign Roman god, okay, of new life. But the church said, wait a minute, that's not new life. Let me tell you what really new life is, and that's the celebration of Easter, right? And that's how the name Easter came about. Okay? It's not in the Bible.
So we don't really know when that happened exactly either.
Well, we do in the sense that we can dovetail it with the celebration of Passover. And when that happens, based on that lunar cycle of the Jews. So we have a better idea of that. Exactly what year, that's a little more dicey, okay? But, guesstimates close, okay? But that's how we came about celebrating Christmas on December 25th, okay? Other comments or questions? Yeah, please.
So Herod missed Christmas by, when you're saying he missed Christmas, he missed it in his heart, right?
Sure.
Because he knew, right? He knew what was going on, as you said.
He knew the facts.
He knew the facts.
Knew the facts.
And he was Mr. Paranoid,
Precisely.
right? So, he killed his own sons, didn't he, at some
A
point?
couple of his wives, his own children. Oh, yeah. He was
Nice
really
man.
not a nice guy.
Yeah, nice man.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is because of his paranoia and his evil spirit, or whatever you want to call it, he just tried to eliminate Christmas, maybe.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Much like the Grinch.
Much like the Grinch, except the Grinch turned himself around.
Oh, yeah. He had a conversion,
That's
if you
right.
will. Exactly. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. We go on with our service, offering